Hey guys, Big Trev coming at you again to analyze the Quaker State 400 at Kentucky Speedway, Saturday night race. And yes, it is raining here in Wisconsin. And with how much rain we've gotten this year, it's almost like we live in Seattle. So, without further ado, I'll get started. Kyle Busch started on the pole. The race was somewhat boring at first. We had our first caution was a competition caution, and that came at lap 30. Danica Patrick got the free pass. Martin Truex Jr. won stage 1 and 2. It's the second time this season he has swept the stages. The only driver to sweep the races. I believe it's just him and Jimmie Johnson. But Truex, another strong performance. Again, he swept all 3 stages, winning stage 1, stage 2, and the main event. He's actually got 13 stage wins this season. And then on the second caution, which was the end of stage 1, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson were speeding on pit road. Kyle Larson had to go to the rear because he had missed qualifying, so he ended up having to come back through the field twice. There was a yellow, Keselowski was out, Jimmie Johnson was out in a crash, and that was on lap 89. Kyle Busch then led for a little bit, and then Truex took the lead. Casey Kane and Trevor Bayne crashed, and Paul Menard got the lucky dog there. Then Trevor Bayne spun out again, and he was then retired to the garage. The final stage went green flag almost the entire rest of the race, up until 2 laps to go. Imagine that, 2 laps to go. There was a yellow. Kurt Busch blew an engine and he put oil down, so they couldn't take the chance. Put the caution out. Martin Truex Jr. almost took the white flag. So the race was extended 7 laps total for cleanup. Truex stayed out on that last restart, and the rest of the 8 or 9 lead lap cars pitted for tires. Kyle Busch took 2 lefts, Kyle Larson took 4, and Eric Jones took 2 rights. And Truex got a push from Larson on that restart, and that was all he needed to go on and win for his 3rd time this season. It's his 10th career win in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And he's got 3 wins on 1.5-mile tracks. Leads all drivers. 688 laps led on all of the 1.5-mile tracks. Our championship playoff standings, Truex still leads that by 13 points, which is huge coming to after Richmond. We'll have to see what plays out. It's kind of like the chase all over again. Consistency is awarded though in this, so we'll have to see what happens. And for those of you wondering where Dale Jr. ended up, I believe he ended up 12th, 1 lap down. So because of how big of a lead Truex had under that long green flag run, that had a lot to do with why so many cars were a lap down and so many cars were not a lap down. So just due to that factor, whenever you get green flag pit stops involved and you get varying strategy on tires and fuel, you end up having a situation where so many guys go a lap down, because if they stay out longer and the leaders pit, the leaders are going to be faster and yada yada yada. There's so many variables, so that's what played out a big part in the in the way that the field was a lap down. Also, I'll mention this too. Truex just dominated. He absolutely dominated. It just, there's no other way of putting it. He dominated that race much like he did in 2016, last summer, last summer, and that was at the Coca-Cola 600. Last spring, whatever. He had led all but 4 laps of the race and won the race. So this is a dominating fashion by Martin Truex nonetheless, but I have a feeling he'll be a really, really big title contender unless he has a string of bad luck. That's the only thing, and unless they beat themselves. Let's face it, his team last year, they beat themselves on pit road with penalties. They beat themselves, the pit road penalty he had last year at Kentucky, passing on pit road, restarted at the tail and never really, came up to finish. So I really think that, he just has to not speed on pit road. His guys need to execute on pit road. Cole Pern needs to talk him into a strategy like he did this last weekend. So I'm very, 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 very impressed nonetheless with Martin Truex and that entire number 78 team, Furniture Row. They're the only team not based in Charlotte. Just remember that. Only team not based in Charlotte. And I'll tell you this. They're the only team with 28 playoff points over Jimmie Johnson with 16. So that has a lot to do. That is a big testament to Furniture Row Racing and where they are. Eric Jones, though, he was up there, but he just hasn't had the string of luck that Truex has. So we'll have to see what happens, and we'll move forward and we look on to Loudon, New Hampshire. So they're racing in Loudon this weekend, and that race is on NBCSN, so you can catch the action there. There's a doubleheader, Saturday Xfinity Series, and Sunday the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series at Loudon, New Hampshire. So we'll move forward, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week, and maybe we'll be talking about Truex again, or maybe we'll be talking about Earnhardt Jr., Junior Nation, looking for a win. He's got to get a win yet in order to qualify for the playoffs, so we'll see what happens. All right, thanks for watching in this rainy territory of northern Wisconsin, but it seems more like Seattle, Washington. So I'd like to get out more and do more stuff like this and do a little bit, change my approach up a little bit, but unfortunately it's been raining and we haven't had much of a summer. So again, thanks for watching, and we will catch up with you next week after Loudon. And remember, that one is on NBCSN. See you next week.